El Salvador is a small country located in Central America. About the same size as Massachusetts, El Salvador has a complicated and troubling history that includes a long civil war and ongoing challenges with gangs and a fragile economy. Like most of the nations in Central America, there is an unmistakable Spanish heritage that influences all aspects of culture, including its art, music, and food. As you can see from the map, El Salvador is a small country and sits on the Pacific side of the continent, with Guatemala to the north and Honduras to the east. It hosts two large national parks and is sometimes referred to as the land of the volcanoes because of the high number of active volcanoes. It is the only country in Central America with no access to the Caribbean. The smallest nation in the Americas, El Salvador's entire population is only 6.3 million citizens, compared to New York City, which has 8.6 million people. A majority of people that live in El Salvador reside in the country's urban areas. San Salvador is the largest city and also serves as El Salvador's capital and is located in the central region of this mostly mountainous country. Some of the other large cities include Santa Ana, which is located in the mountains in the northwest, and San Miguel, which is the lowlands in the southeastern corner of the country. In 1528, after leading his army to a defeat of the local forces, Conquistador Pedro de Alvarado decided to name the region after Jesus Christ, and thus the name of El Salvador, translated as the Savior, was given. The Christian heritage remains strong, as over 80% of the nation's population is Roman Catholic or Protestants. El Salvador endured a long civil war in the 1980s and early 1990s. There was a long history of civil inequality and political corruption, which eventually led to the citizens of the country to rise up and against its government. Eventually, a peace treaty was signed and a more stable republic was put in place. In the 25 plus years since the Civil War, the government has tried to modernize the economy and focus growing its two most important sources of money, tourism and the exporting of coffee. It even converted its currency to the US dollars in an effort to become more trade friendly. However, El Salvador remains a country that has widespread gang issues and has the highest murder rate in the world, which continues to make visitors nervous. The current president of El Salvador is a man named Nayib Bukele, who was just elected a few weeks ago. Presidents are elected to serve a single 5-year term and cannot seek re-election. President Bukele comes from the Grand Alliance for National Unity, known as GANA, which means he will be the first leader of El Salvador since 1989 who did not come from one of the two major political groups. GANA is a moderately conservative political party who has only been on the scene for about 10 years. The charismatic Bukele comes from a Muslim father and a Christian mother and is of Pakistani descent. He was a successful businessman until he got into politics, most recently working as the mayor of San Salvador. Most of El Salvador's most prominent historical figures come from the political arena, but others, such as famed poet Claudia Lars, heavy metal drummer Pete Sandoval, and YouTuber gamer Luis Flores, all hail from the country. Today, El Salvador continues with a strong Spanish influence on its culture, which reflects all aspects of their citizens' lives. Soccer is the #1 sport in the country and has a long history of international success. The largest soccer stadium in Central America and the Caribbean is in San Salvador. Recently, surfing has become a very popular sport, with the beaches on the Pacific Ocean having some of the best waves in the world. Other sports that are also played are basketball, tennis, and swimming. El Salvador enjoys many unique dishes that represent its Spanish heritage. The pupusa is a mainstay dish and is a flour tortilla stuffed with cheese, refried beans, and often pork. Another local dish is the panes con pollo, which is sandwich stuffed with either chicken or turkey meat. Like many other Spanish countries, fried plantains or bananas are the most popular breakfast food. Music is an essential part of the culture in El Salvador. Traditional Christian songs, often accompanied by a xylophone, have been used for generations. More recently, other styles have become just as popular, with salsa, rock, hip hop, and Salvadoran cumbia. Marching bands, once called war bands because of their use during the Civil War, are also still very popular and can be found nearly every national celebration. The flag of El Salvador is a simple pattern with two blue bands that represent the ocean and one white band stripe which signifies peace and solidarity. The flag has been in place since 1912 and also contains the national motto of Dios, Union, Libertad, translated to mean God, Union, Liberty. Thank you for your time.